an allegation or a series of allegations. He put that out. He was on Rachel Maddow the other night. He said it would be within 48 hours, which would place it before tomorrow's hearing. He has said to Craig in the last hour that he tried to reach the committee and tried to do this before going public on Twitter and exposing these allegations in a sworn affidavit under penalty of perjury.
Right.
What do you know?
It's a declaration, and to be clear, it was attached to a tweet on Twitter by Michael Avenatti. I've retweeted it. It's TV Kate Snow is my Twitter handle if people want to read it themselves. You just quoted extensively from it. It is explosive in terms of the allegations, Andrea, contained in this document. She is saying that she was a high school student and that Judge Kavenaugh, Brett Kavenaugh at the time, a high school student, and his friend, Mr. Judge, Mark Judge, engaged in repeated inappropriate behavior, to say the least, and all the way up to gang rape and assault and drugging of women. These are incredibly serious charges. We have, of course, reached out to the White House. No response yet from the White House. No statement yet, Andrea, from Brett Kavenaugh. I feel it's also worth noting that Michael Avenatti, as you well know, has political aspirations. He was in Iowa not too long ago and has toyed with the notion of running for president himself. He's strongly a Democrat. We are trying to find out more about the woman, Julie Swetnick. All we know at this point that we can report is that it does appear that she lives in the Washington, D.C. area based on public records that we've found, but we've not been able to reach her and we've not been able to verify these claims independently. And in the run-up to this revelation today, Avenatti had said that this is a woman who has had a series of jobs in government for which she had security clearances. We have to explore that more fully. And we have reached out to every employer named in the document here. I believe we've reached out to every single one. Our investigative unit is on that right now and have not heard back yet to verify employment. And we have confirmed independently that that Senator Grassley's office has confirmed that they have received this affidavit, this declaration. I want to stand by, Kate, and we have other guests here as well, lawyers who have expertise in this field. But first, Washington Democratic Senator Patty Murray joins me now. Senator Murray, first of all, I want to get your reaction. Let me just posit that you're not on the Judiciary Committee. You obviously have a vote on confirmation. And you, I know very well from having covered this, were elected in 1992 in the Year of the Woman, partly as a result of the Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas hearings. What does this, we should say, late allegation, late in the process, how seriously should it be taken and how should it affect tomorrow's hearing and the vote that's now been scheduled by the committee, already scheduled for Friday?
Andrea, I just read it and it is horrifying. And it is important to note that it's an affidavit and she has signed it under perjury or law. So, I mean, people don't do this randomly. It needs to be investigated, absolutely. But let me step back for a minute and remind everybody that what we do as a Senate today, how we react to these allegations, and what message we send by how we deal with them is critically important. If the Senate were to switch this aside and dismiss Mrs. Ford and do what the president said and start calling allegations of she was drunk, we're going to send a message to young girls once again, as we did in 1991, to be quiet, sit down, and don't talk. And what is that message to young boys? Don't worry, you'll get away with it. This is serious. It needs to be taken absolutely with every thing we can do to make sure their voices are brought forward, absolutely investigated. This should not be rushed through. And it deeply disturbs me that that appears to be what Republicans are doing. We can't send that message again. We just cannot.
Senator, the Republicans have been saying that this is a smear campaign. The president has said this. It's a con job. It's a smear campaign. And they were actually holding back and not attacking Dr. Ford. And then when the second accuser came forward, and there were other suggestions from Avenatti that he was going to have someone come forward later this week before the hearing, then they really ramped it up. And according to Casey Hunt, my colleague on the Hill, that's when they felt that actually Dr. Ford's position was undercut by these other accusations because it began to seem more political.
Well, except that Mrs. Ramirez has said she is willing to come before the committee and testify. Obviously, Dr. Ford is coming forward and now has 4 affidavits showing that her story can be corroborated. This is an affidavit that we have gotten today. The message that this is a smear campaign frightens me as a woman, that once again we are saying to women out there, don't come forward, you're going to be accused of smear campaigns, no one's going to believe you. Stop, do the investigation. There are obviously witnesses that can be called from both sides so that we know the evidence, and believe it or not, but have an investigation. To have this rush through right now is such the wrong thing to do.
Now, one of your colleagues, Senator Jeff Merkley, who, as you know, has been opposing this confirmation from the beginning, again, not on the committee, he says he's going to file a lawsuit today to suggest that the president has interfered unconstitutionally in the advise and consent function of the Senate. I'm not sure that he would have standing, and we know what filing a lawsuit is not the same as getting one to be taken up. But do you have any way legally, being in the minority, to stop this train from proceeding down the tracks?
Well, Andrew, this is what I believe. I believe that there are responsible Republicans who are going to share the view that it's not just a Supreme Court nominee that is on trial right now. It is the United States Senate in the year of the Me Too movement, where we have an obligation to show this country we take allegations seriously and investigate them absolutely, but they will be listened to and heard. And we're on trial here as well. And I plead with the Senate Republicans to take a breath. Having somebody on the court on October 1st is less important than getting this right.
Senator Murray, I know you've got to go. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it. And joining me now, NBC White House correspondent Kristen Welker, MSNBC political analyst Ashley Parker, White House reporter at The Washington Post, NBC Capitol Hill correspondent Casey Hunt, still with us, NBC national correspondent Kate Snow, and also with us Linda Fairstein, former sex crimes prosecutor in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and a best-selling author. Well, Kristen, I'll have to go to you. First of all, what is the White House reaction, if any?
So far, no official reaction, Andrea. I'm told that we can expect a statement sometime soon. I think that they're processing this along with everyone else. Again, as you rightfully pointed out, these new allegations coming in the 11th hour as everyone was preparing for that hearing that was set to take place tomorrow. There's no indication as of right now that the president, that this White House is planning to break with Brett Kavenaugh. But again, we await the official statement. And I think there is a broad sense within Trump world that, look, these are allegations and they want to get to the bottom of exactly what has happened here. There also seems to be agreement, though, Andrea, that if these allegations are true, if they are verified, if they are verifiable, and NBC News has not yet been able to corroborate them, and we haven't been able to reach, of course, the woman at the center of this making the new allegations, that this would be something that would be disqualifying. Now, President Trump will have a chance to say all of this himself and to respond to questions about this. He's going to hold a news conference later today, Andrea, but important to underscore the strategy that we have seen from him in recent days. He's become increasingly dug in, increasingly trying to paint this as a political hit job. Will the fact that, as Kate pointed out, Michael Avenatti, of course, makes no secret of the fact that he's a Democrat, will that give him fresh ammunition to try to make his case? That remains to be seen. But again, Andrea, we are awaiting the official reaction here from within the White House. Many of the top officials are with the president in New York at the United Nations. And so I think there's a scramble with officials there and folks here who are covering the Brett Kavenaugh confirmation hearing tomorrow to try to get on the same page and put out a response, Andrea.
And Kristen, as you point out, we are here in New York. I'm here because of the United Nations. Yep. Trust me on this, because I've been talking to people and ambassadors and even heads of state. Everyone is watching this drama and has been for the last couple of days. This is not a president operating in a vacuum here. Not only is he pausing to talk about it at official functions, but it's everywhere in the media. Kate Snow, I know you've got to go and keep on reporting, but
I don't need to go. But
Good.
I was flagging you because we did just verify one. It's a very small detail, but I had said earlier that NBC News had not been able to verify anything about this new accuser, but we did just verify that there is a Julie Swetnick who graduated, we're told, by the Montgomery County Public Schools, that she graduated from Gaithersburg High School back in 1980, which is what she says in her statement. She says she's a graduate. She doesn't say what year. But so we've been able to verify that she did go to that high school. Andrea, I know you're from the D.C. area. Gaithersburg is about a 25-minute drive from Georgetown Prep, so it's not exactly the same neighborhood, and it's about the same distance from Bethesda, right? So it's not the same neighborhood that Brett Kavanaugh